Okay, as far as I know, we're live. Hopefully we'll see somebody show up. And see if we can see their comments. I see comments, but I don't see the chat. Maybe I have to look at YouTube while we're doing this. Bear with me as I try to figure this out. Okay. Well, how have you been, Max? It's been a long time since we talked.
Yeah, no, I've been good, thank you. Yeah, we were just saying before we went live, though, it was fun to sit and watch the film in its entire form, because it's been a little while since I finished writing the score. So it was really fun to watch it all the way through, and yeah, see the comments, everything. But yeah, really enjoyed it.
Knowing you don't have to do any work while you're watching.
Yeah, usually it's like, oh no, it's another really long action sequence I've got to score.
Oh, welcome, Mark McCreary, my best pal.
Mark Largent, my best pal, and Musical Max.
Hey, man, nice to meet you.
It's good to meet you, too. I've appreciated your work quite a bit.
Oh, thank you. It's very kind. It's been really fun.
Well, Largent has a tendency to make things fun, unless he makes them aggravating, which it could go either way sometimes.
There's a fine line.
There's a fine line. Hey, I try to be... If I'm any less aggravating, it's because of the many times that I got out my aggravation on McCreary.
Well, I'm glad I could be of use.
Tired of liars? I have no clue. I work on it until I burn out, and then I rest up and I go back. I think it was only 2 years this time, actually, of work, maybe 2.5. Because I do think I started writing the script in 21, and it was finished in 24, by the end of 24. Fruit Punch Bicycle says, I love that TNG cliffhanger. Thank you. That was a last minute addition.
I forgot we did that, actually. Everyone was saying, stay behind. I was like, what? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I contacted Max and said, we're done, but could you go ahead and write a Next Generation theme? And he was going, that's a little bit of an ask. So we just did, but wow, you can actually tell the difference. I should point out, if anybody doesn't know, Max has worked on real Star Trek. He worked on Star Trek's Picard season 3.
The good one. Should I have said that? I should have said that. I'm sorry.
I agree. It was a good one.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was fun doing the TNG teaser. The question mark thing still makes me laugh. With lining that up with the music, it's really funny.
Yeah, that was absolutely the last thing. We've got another fan film factor.
There we go.
Jonathan Lane.
Jonathan Lane.
If there was somebody who knew anything about fan films, it would be Jonathan Lane, who has interviewed just about everybody who has walked near one.
That's what I do.
So I got this question. Mark, you plan to sell a model of the second prize? I'd love to have one for my personal Trek collection. I would love to make one, but I don't know about merchandising for parodies. I think that might be a bridge too far. That might be when Paramount finally says, well, we thought this was funny until now. Plus, I also know that about 5 people would buy one. So,
well, you've got 4 on here now.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll take one.
Incidentally, though, the first time you see the consternation, that's a photo of a 3D printed second prize.
Wow.
because they did that in the original version of the Doomsday machine. They bought an off-the-shelf AMT model of the Enterprise for the Consternation. So I thought it would be fun to have a physical thing.
Hey, Mark. Quick question for you: Are we live on the air yet, or are we still prepping for it?
No, we've been live for a while, so
Okay.
we're all we're.
So I'm late to the party.
Yeah, well, no, I started a little bit early, and because I wanted to make sure it would work. But
well, in that case, I am going to sneak away really quick, and I'm going to fill more water in my cup, and I'll be right back.
okay. Remove them so that I found the chat. Outstanding work, guys. Just great. Thank you all. Thank you, Mark. That was a lot of fun doing a premiere. I've never done that before. So that was cool to see reactions in real time. Oh, so I've invited a few people, so we'll see who shows up. Danger Aware Organization is wants me talk to me about some kind of charity work, which I've explained that since Star Trek is always not for profit, that it's basically charity to begin with. But yeah, the next generation thing, I don't know. I'm circling around it right now.
Of course you are, and of course you will. Max, start working on the music now.
I do have a great title though. If I do the first episode, it's of course Encounter at Farpoint, and mine would be Encounter with No Point.
I would definitely be up for doing that.
Yes,
let's do it.
Well, I think
we can make history right now, Largent.
I got to work on my John Delancey voice.
Well, Max has some connections. Just saying.
But so I just want to say thank you to everybody, and yeah, wow, it took a long time to get there, so I hope everybody thought it was worth the wait.
And, it's funny. It's definitely funny.
Thank you.
I shared the premiere on my Facebook page, and I said genuinely so that each one of these has gotten funnier. Your skill level has increased. So yeah, way to go, Argento.
Thank you. And we're adding not only Jonathan Lane back. I hope he wasn't waiting too long. And then Joshua Irwin, another excellent fan filmmaker. Hi, Josh.
Hey, I'm in my office at work, so I can't turn my camera on, but I did want to drop by and tell you what a great film this is.
Thank you.
Hilarious, and I think the part that sticks out to me so much is not just all the work you did to create the imagery, but doing the voices and the writing. It's like you had so much in all aspects of it, so it's just really impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going to put this up because I agree with Tired of Liars that my Picard voice was. In fact, Martina, the sound designer, she added like a big filter to it at first, and it kind of made it so you couldn't hear my Picard impersonation. And I was like, could you drop that down a little bit so that people can hear how good of a Picard that was?
If you do say so yourself.
If I did say so myself, yes.
Well, I'm definitely a person that appreciates a good impersonation. Just ask Jonathan Lane.
Oh yeah, Josh does a great impersonation of me.
Oh, let's hear it. Is it safe for air?
Yeah.
So when you look at this fan film, the first thing that you notice is how intricate all the details are.
Josh,
Well,
you
that-
forgot the most important part.
Oh, all the uhs.
Uh,
I don't think that was a bad impersonation.
I think it was a great impersonation, but no, you can't do me unless you actually add the ums.
Just trying to be respectful.
Yeah.
Why start now, Josh? Why start now?
So if you guys have out in the chat have any questions, fire away. I'm going to try to see them and respond to them. It's so nice to be able to talk about this after so long, especially the surprise Next Generation thing, because I really wanted to keep that a secret. And amazingly, nobody spoiled that because all the backers got to see it.
I can keep a secret.
Yeah.
That and I'm 58 years
Hollywood-
old, and I just kind of forget everything anyway. So
Yeah. Whoa. I'm going to thank Morris here for a $5 super chat, which I believe is the first super
Ooh.
chat I've ever gotten. So thank you very much.
Ooh.
But
super chat.
Danger aware, what animation software are you using? It's Blender 3D. Then some After Effects and Photoshop and that kind of stuff, but almost all Blender 3D.
Something I thought was really neat was how well you captured the lighting of the actual episode, the Doomsday Machine. That was a really active element in that, and something I noticed, of course, because that's part of the craft that I do. But I made a Doomsday Machine fan film years back, and that was something that was a big part of it for me. So that was a detail I appreciated a lot.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, that's something that I think that the real look of Star Trek, the original series, was the lighting. They had really good. Another super chat, thanks to Danger Aware Organization. Wow.
I can almost taste that Happy Meal now.
Yeah.
I don't know, how much is a Happy Meal now? Is it about $15?
Not happy anymore.
Yeah, those prices have gone up. Dark Scourge says, could you make Star Trek's second prize a prequel series? Oh, with Captain Archer? That would be fun. I really wish I had unlimited time, because I definitely would do something with all of them.
Well,
I joke
look, if these $5 keep rolling in, buddy, you might get your wish.
Yeah,
I can hire some help.
we can make this like a Jerry Lewis telethon. We'll go for like 28th hour. You'll be up to like $47.
Yeah. Let's
Yeah.
hear your Jerry Lewis impersonation, RJ.
Yeah. Well, I did for a while try to figure out how I could have done a parody of Discovery called Star Trek Discontinuity.
Oh God.
Man.
The
There
problem
you
with
go.
like Josh was talking about with doing the lighting, the sets are very simple on the original series. A lot of harsh angles. There's not really a lot of curves, and they're basically mostly just gray. So putting some lighting, some colored lighting and stuff like that is really what makes those look great. And so yeah, it's fun to try to get that look of it having been shot on film and being almost 60 years old.
But I'll say this about my buddy Largent. A lesser person and like me, if I were doing something like this, I would not be nearly as concerned with the details as this guy is. I mean, when he did this, he got hold of blueprints. He got hold of everything he could. And I'm sitting there, he's showing me this stuff. And I'm going, man, it looks great. But that's a lot of work you're putting yourself through for something that it was part of his passion for this project.
Well, I always hated it when you watched like In Living Color or something, and they do a Star Trek parody, but nothing would look like Star Trek. Not that they were really trying, but it always distracted me to say, well, that's not what the bridge looks like, or that's not what the costumes look like. So I wanted it to look enough like it so that you don't pay attention to it.
Right.
And Max and I talk about this all the time because Max comes in and does a serious score.
Mhm.
And I wanted to look as serious as possible so that all the ridiculous stuff really plays off of that.
Mhm.
It's
And,
about putting the attention where it belongs, and if something's distracting you, then you're not paying attention to what the filmmaker really wants you to see.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. I told Max too. Max wrote this this really moving piece of music when they think that Croc is dead, and I was like, "You actually make it sound like I can act," because
Yeah, that was really fun doing that bit.
Yeah. The let's see. Danger Organization says, I'm learning Moho 2D animation for our charity. I think, is that what was it Anime Studio? Is that what that was? I think that's what that was. Captain James T. Kirk said, wants me to take on Star Trek 2009, which does bring up the point. All the newer Treks are much harder to do. Modeling these newer things, you've got a whole army of people working on it, not 5 guys at Devsy with hammers and saws.
Yeah. Just add a lot of lens flares. You can get away with a lot.
Mark, I came up with a great gag for discovery or discontinuity, as you're calling it. So you open on the bridge, and like everything is like really, really dark, and there's like the glowing panels and whatever, and everybody's sitting out on the bridge, and the turbo lift opens up, and somebody walks in, and like they literally like immediately like bump into a bulkhead because it's so dark. And so they look for the light switch, and they turn the light switch on, and the entire thing lights up like a normal bridge. And everybody on the bridge is going, turn off the light, turn off the light.
And then you make it look like it's like really not that cool looking. It only looks good in the dark. Yeah.
It only looks good in the dark.
Actually, it looks like the original series set that you built for your Star Trek.
Actually,
once the lights
you know what
on.
you should do? You know what you should do when you turn the lights on? You see everything, including the stuff behind it, like with the ladders and the paint buckets and all the other stuff in the sets and the lights.
Yeah.
And then you turn the lights off.
And then you turn the lights off. Oh yeah, and like you see like other things. You see PAs in the distance.
Yeah. Everybody has snacks and stuff around their station.
Yeah. Little garbage on the floor. Little wrappers.
Yeah, that's the thing is you look at these new ones and what are they? Most of these have like 27 producers or something at the front of it, and you realize that all of these people are commanding an army of people to put these together, and it's just wow, it's so much. Christopher Holiday says, Star Trek: The Search for More Money. It would be Star Trek: The Search for Any Money. It would be the better way to do it, but it is a labor of love, so I do enjoy doing that. Jacoby says you guys do a better job writing episodes than modern Star Trek, and that's not hyperbole, which I will take. I do.
You're not exactly setting the bar high, by the way. Just
yeah,
say that. It's like saying it's the largest state in New England. Yeah, okay.
Well, do you know the fact that every single person I know sent me that picture of Pike as a Muppet? So we will get to see what a high end puppet Star Trek would look like.
Are you going to reveal
Vance keeps saying that they're stealing ideas from us.
Well, I think that wasn't it like was it Angel or who was one of the TV shows did puppets years ago, did a puppet episode. I think it was Angel, the Buffy,
Angel,
Vampire
Stargate SG-1 did it too, but it was more of a parody of Team America World Police.
Oh, okay. They did like the marionettes, the super marionettes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Angel did it in its 5th and final season, I think, if I remember correctly. And of course, Buffy was the first season to have the series to have an all musical episode.
Yes,
So.
But they went many years before they did it, and not like in the 2nd or 3rd season, like Strange New World. I have no idea how to say. My old pal B says, "How long does it take to make one of these episodes?" Too long.
7.5 minutes.
If you ask me at the beginning of it, I think it takes 3 months, and then it usually is more like 3 years,
or longer.
I want to say some of us saw this already, like for feedback purposes, like 6 months ago or something like that.
Yeah, back last year at the end of the year. Yeah.
Yeah.
What would the Star Trek universe version of T'Lyn from Lower Decks be named? Anybody got an idea? Apparently, no one has an idea. I don't know that it's hard with the names things, because sometimes I just go with the generic one. Like, I'm sure everybody and their brother has done Scotchy for Mr. Scott. But then sometimes I do come up with something that I think is moderately clever. Did I put up this? Bernie is saying that it's a brilliant comedy, irreverent, but in a better way, so reverent. Thank you. I think that's true. I had somebody once ask me about doing a parody of something that I didn't like, and I said, I would not want to spend 3 years of my life working on something I didn't like.
And that's why I think we'll never see Star Trek discombobulated, because
what are you trying to say?
Just saying what we're all thinking.
Tulip. Strange New Worlds would be difficult to spoof in the Star Trek universe. It is mostly a spoof already. There is some truth to that. And again, that would go where I want to do a parody of the episode, not a lampoon of the property. Like, I don't really do this to insult Star Trek. I do really like Star Trek. But Kevin points out the Encounter at no point is a great title. Encounter, that title is the impetus that makes me want to do it. For all the other stuff I do not want to do it, but I like that title.
Wasn't it Encounter with no point?
Huh?
Wasn't it an Encounter with no point?
Well, it was. Yes, it is with no point.
Oh.
Yeah, Encounter with no point.
Yeah. That'd be pretty cool. I mean, I realize that what I'm about to suggest means that you do all the work and have very little of the payoff, as opposed to all the payoff with very little of the work. But wouldn't it be great to just create a snippet of all the different Trek series as puppet parodies? With one quick little gag, like the Discovery gag, and then one gag for Enterprise, and one gag for Deep Space Nine, one gag for Voyager, and of course that just means that you have to create all those bridges, you poor sod.
Yeah, that's where that falls apart, is that you can kind of justify doing all that work if it goes across the whole the whole episode.
No, it worked in my mind. It was
yes.
Really, it would have been glorious. But and of course you do all the work, so it doesn't really affect me at all.
I do think that there are some that I would like to do some quick gags with, and right now I can say I am working on a music video, so I hope to have that done at some point, and we'll see how that goes.
It's not a Klingon boy band, is it?
No, it is not. No Klingon singing. Here's I would love to do Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. I have vivid memories of my pal Martin McCrary and I watching the VHS of Star Trek II and lampooning it the entire way through. It was mostly about Kirk's permanent, his perm and his hair, and we laughed at ourselves silly. It would be a lot of fun to do that. I love that movie more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just say this about that subject matter. As a bald man who's the son of a bald man, I know a rug when I see one.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Yeah, I don't know. Danger brings up the AI thing. I don't know if I could magically do it, because I've put in some of the puppets and tried to see what AI would do. And the thing is, although I'm by no means a great animator, there's a character to all of these characters. And AI just generically moves people around. You know, I didn't want to do Croc with the captain of. I didn't want to do that generic thing. I wanted to make him a character, and so I think that's what AI can't do. It can make the puppets look better than my puppets, but it's random and it doesn't seem to have any. But obviously, if I could write a script, pop it in, and a Star Trek come out, I'd consider that.
Yeah, you need another year or two for that to happen.
Yeah, then everybody else will be making them, so that it'll be that. But let's see. I'm assuming that nobody else is showing up at the back room. I know some people had to work, so they might be.
Well, I may actually have to skedaddle, believe it or not. I was supposed to pick up a bunch of T-shirts for my son's robotics team locally, and apparently the person who has the T-shirts had a death in the family this morning, and is in South Los Angeles right now. You know, it's the danger spot, South Central LA. But no, it's not. Our city isn't on fire, despite what Donald Trump said. Our baseball team is. But that all being said, I'm waiting for her to text me back. But if she wants me to pick them up right now from her, I can probably get there in about a half an hour or so.
Okay. Well, appreciate you being here, and pop off whenever you want to.
Yeah, I'm waiting for her to text me back. She's read my email or my text, and I'm just trying to figure out if basically said I didn't want to interrupt anything too somber. But if she's got them in, because we have an interesting situation. This has nothing to do with Star Trek, but the middle school robotics team has its first tournament on Saturday, and I was in charge of getting the T-shirts made, and the T-shirts are now ready. They're just not ready. And they are having their last. She's a mess right now. Okay. Anyway, she's going to have someone meet me. Okay. I feel really bad. She's a mess. I don't know who it was who died. But anyway, their first tournament is on Saturday. So if I don't get them to them today, which is their last actual practice session before Saturday, they won't have them for the tournament. So anyway, I feel really bad about all this, but yeah, it looks like I'm gonna have to bail. So anyway, Mark, congratulations again. You did an excellent job on this.
Thank you, Jonathan,
as you always do.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I will probably send you some text-based questions, unless you wanted to do a video interview for Fan Film Factor. I'm happy to do either one.
Well, sure, we could do that.
Okay, well, I'll get in touch with you. And
okay, have a great one, Jonathan. And everyone, check out the Fan Film Factor. It has articles and interviews with tons of fan filmmakers. You won't believe how many Star Trek fan films are out there.
Ridiculous number. More than I can possibly count at this point, or even cover.
Yeah.
But yes, and indeed, ask Josh about his next two. One of them coming out in about 3 weeks, and one of them slightly thereafter, because he's got some very exciting stuff on the way.
Awesome.
All right. Anyway, I will see you guys at some later point, but thank you all, and
Thanks, Jonathan. Good to
live
see
long
you.
and prosper.
Cheers,
Live
Jonathan.
long and prosper. Okay, now that we have Max cornered,
Yeah.
what Max works on real stuff and then slums it by working on Star Trek. So what's something cool that you're working on that you're allowed to talk about?
I am definitely working on some cool stuff. I'm not sure I can actually talk about any of it yet.
He'll have to kill you.
Yeah, I would have to kill everyone if I told you.
Whoa.
I don't think
Okay.
Max doesn't have a problem with killing us. It's him getting killed for telling.
Yeah. No, yeah. There's fun. There's interesting stuff coming. But
can you give a clue?
Oh gosh, I don't know. No, because there's not enough information. If I gave a clue, it would be too obvious what I'm doing.
All right, then definitely give a clue. Yes.
So I have a question for Max. So have you shared any of the music that you did for Star Trek with any of your other professional compatriots?
Yeah,
To tell them about this, like in particular, the working on real Star Trek. You'd say, well, funny, by the way, here's something else I'm working on.
Well, I did actually because, well, first of all, actually, and I've said this to Mark on both films that I've done with him, is that actually it's usually the project that I enjoy the most each year that I work on a Star Trek, because I have complete creative freedom, and it's like Mark was saying, we do the score so overly seriously that it's just almost becomes this hilarious thing going on in the background. It's like overly over the top. But actually, in one of the cues, I actually put a really subtle Easter egg in where I referenced one of the themes that we did for Star Trek Picard in Star Trek. So it's really subtle. Not many people will find it, but I spoke to Stephen, who was the main composer for Picard, and just said, "Oh, working on this like parody film, it's like really fun. Can I reference one of our themes for Picard?" And he said, "Yeah, go for it." So,
cool.
That
I'm
was
gonna have to check that out again.
So yeah, it's in there somewhere. But so yeah, I just love working on Mark's on his films because there's a difference between working on something that's made by people who just love it and want to do it because they care about it. There's a difference between working on a project like that and then working on something that has a corporate aspect to it, behind it as well. So it's but yeah, love
cool.
it.
Thanks.
Yeah, and Star Trek is as good as it is because of what Max does. Max really elevates it to a level that I couldn't get to on my own. And the amazing thing about City on the Edge of Foreclosure and the Dumbsday Machine is Max worked on the score while I was making the movie, originally because of COVID. But so Max inspires me to come up with to raise the bar, as they say. We've got a guy whose actual name is Landrew. That's one of the few Easter eggs in the Dumbsday Machine, is that there's a bumper sticker on the back of the shuttlecraft that says,
"That's funny."
Yeah. Is it honk if you heart Landrew, or I heart Landrew, or something like that? Mark is pointing out exactly the truth. If you tell us what you're working on, we'll all keep it secret for you and not tell anybody.
Yeah, you can trust us.
Oh yeah.
So when I guess it was after City on the Edge of Foreclosure, Max said that he was working on something, and he just sort of randomly said, "Hey, if I was going to start watching Star Trek, what episodes should I start watching?" And I was like, well, there's a bunch of different eras of Star Trek. And he goes, well, what if it was more Star Trek The Next Generation episodes? And I was going like, but at the time, season 2 of Picard had not come out. So I wondered, is he working on season 2? And then when he wasn't on season 2, I thought, oh, well, it must have been something else. And then I sneakily found out, because Stephen Barton is would you say mentor or your?
Yeah, I'm his assistant, so I work
Yes.
for him. So yeah,
The boss.
Yeah, big boss man.
The big boss man. So I found somebody had leaked the fact that Stephen Barton was working on Picard. So I immediately went to Max and said, I see this. I see this.
It isn't not this. I think that's what I said.
But yeah, so, and then I should say also amongst your credits is you got to do some work on Gladiator 2, the Ridley Scott movie. So Max got his first feature film credit.
Wow.
Max is going to be real big and not remember Star Trek at some point.
No way. No. I was an orchestrator on Gladiator 2. So that was my first big feature film credit, which is a pretty wild ride. Crazy few weeks, but very stressful, but it was really good fun.
So I have another question for Max. So you were wanting to reference Star Trek the original, the Next Generation episodes. Musically, I think they famously tried to stay away from themes and things like that because the producers didn't want the music to become too distracting. And yet the work that you did on Picard is very theme oriented. So I guess I just think it's interesting. I'm not sure. I wonder how much help was it to look at some Next Generation episodes for the work that you did in Picard? That's the question I want to ask.
Well, that was largely down to our showrunner Terry Matalas, who really his musical ear is really incredible, and he really drove like the direction of the score, and it was partially his influence that why we had so much thematic material,
which was great, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. Well, and also that's Stevens wrote all those amazing themes, and I just get to play with them every now and again. But yeah, it's it was really like Terry and Steven together, like a really, really good team musically, and it's interesting because when Mark was putting the temp tracks in the scenes that he was sending to me, it was kind of what you were saying, where it's not that thematic, it's not very theme heavy. So we really only have one theme in Star Trek, which is just the main sort of theme that plays in the fanfare, and then I kind of use it all the way through. But a lot of it is, kind of listening to the temps of those original recordings from back in the era, and trying to imitate that instrumentation and that just the feel, because that film and TV music was very different back then to what we do now. So it's kind of like trying to tune into that, figuring out what is the score saying and how, and then trying to imitate that and also go completely over the top with it, because that's kind of the joke.
Oh yeah.
Has there ever been a shot that you looked at and said, I have no idea how I'm going to do this, or it looked way too hard or something?
On your stuff, a fair few bits.
I don't care about the other stuff. I'm just talking. It's nice that you worked on that Ridley Scott guy's movie, but let's talk about mine.
The fun thing about, I'm just looking on my other computer, the queue list that I had up for it, and we did a lot of action stuff in this one. There's a lot of fast paced scenes. So some of those were kind of, the nature of it being a short film is you're kind of weaving in and out quite quickly. So you're trying to make a moment of it, but you don't want to keep. You don't want the scenes to sort of tread on each other's toes, if you know what I mean.
Right.
So you
Yeah.
need a little bit of space as well. But no, like I mean, my favorite scene's definitely that the whole like last act, I guess. You know, with that whole last battle thing with the Dumbsday machine, and then and then also playing on the fact that we think that he's dead. It's just that was by far the most fun part of this film, because the score just goes everywhere. In that, it's like 1 minute it's like battle, and then it's like, oh, someone's dead, and then it's he's back. So
right, well, that was my favorite bit of music, was your sort of super celebratory music that he was alive. that I love that setup. Actually, we have a question. Morris wants to know, what was computer setup like for Star Trek? I used a Mac Studio, so nothing too fancy. I used the Adobe Creative Cloud and Blender, so nothing. I know that it's much better to do Blender on a PC with a really powerful GPU and stuff, but I just kind of make it on what I have.
I just reminded myself, actually, I remember the planet Yum Yum, that scene.
Yes,
that was really
that was a lot. Yes,
because we were doing so all that music that's coming out of the ship we made, and then we were trying to figure out how that was going to overtake the score, and then fade out again. Then the score comes back in. So that was a tricky one. That took
right, because that was supposed to sound like it was being pumped out from the second prize.
Yeah, exactly.
And I had originally, for the temp, I had picked like an old Little Rascals.
Yeah, that was it, yeah.
And there's a danger when you're doing the temp stuff. There are times I fall in love with what that sounds like.
Yeah.
And I know it's not going to be the same. And but it just so happened that I don't know if McCrary, if you noticed what music that was that played.
No.
It was Yes, We Have No Bananas.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
okay,
we
yeah.
have no bananas. It had just gone into public domain and, when we were working on it, so we were able to do it. For Max, how much creative control musically did you have with Picard?
So I wasn't the main composer on Picard. Obviously, that was Stephen, and so
But I know you did incidental. You did additional music.
Yeah, so I do additional music, and I orchestrated it as well. So so a lot of it is taking like the themes that he wrote for the series, and then using them for different scenes. So there's a few scenes where I kind of just got to do what I felt, and there's a few scenes where I kind of have to do a specific thing, so it sounds like we need to use this theme here, or that kind of thing. So it's a real mix, but there's a few shots where I got to kind of run with it, which was pretty cool.
Awesome. So does that come like there's a scene where the music's already been written, there's another scene and you're just in between, or is it this is a scene that we're how do they decide which ones that they're not going to score themselves, I guess, or Steven's not going to score himself?
It just depends on each episode. I mean, like the thing with Picard,
run out of time.
Well, it's usually that. I mean, there's so much music. So it was 10 episodes, and I think we were averaging something along the lines of 40-something minutes of music per episode. And then, I mean, obviously, then like episode 10 was, I think, over an hour long, the episode itself. So there's so much music. And obviously, we're writing every single cue from scratch. We didn't do any tracking, so we didn't use any cues from previous episodes to fill time. We did the whole thing from scratch, from the first scene of episode 1 to the last scene of episode 10. So yeah, it really is just a kind of a thing of there's physically not enough in time in the frame that we were working in for Stephen to score every note of it. So it's really, the additional writers will come and fill in some of the gaps, and In some episodes I'll do more, some episodes I'll do less. So yeah.
Awesome.
Wow.
And there were so many callbacks in that season to other Star Trek. I mean, you'd hear, oh, this part, that cue obviously is an homage to Star Trek 2, or,
Yeah.
There's so many callbacks, and that's what really impressed me the whole season about the music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There was definitely a few times, because it's that fine line between like fan service and then doing not fan service, and there's there's a few points in Picard season 3 where doing the thing that everyone expects is 100% the right thing to do, but it's also figuring out when those moments are, and I think we did it mostly correct.
Yeah. Well, was it in the end titles or somewhere you guys worked in? I'm blanking on the Next Generation episode with the Borg. Why can't I think of it? Generations, and then there was. Help me.
First
Josh,
Contact.
First Contact. Yeah, you would. Okay. There was that theme was definitely there. I think like either in the end titles or something, which did sort of foreshadow the fact that the Borg were going to be part of this, or the Borg Queen, I guess.
Yeah, I think we wanted to keep it pretty under wraps, not foreshadow it too heavily, but yeah, there was some small hints, I guess, for fans. I mean, as you'll know, Mark, my actual Trek knowledge is actually not that good. Yes. So it went over my head. I was like, what?
Yeah, I always try to get Max excited about Star Trek, which I'm sure he's like, oh, look, Mark's written a whole nother paragraph about this thing that is not important. But well, the great thing I think has been that I love the interaction, because obviously I do have the benefit of I'm doing a parody of a TV show that has a score. So I can grab the music from that scene and use it if it's appropriate. But then Max always ups it, and so it's a great thing. And then there's this magical thing at the end where I realize I have a Star Trek soundtrack that never existed before.
Yes, it's we should actually we should talk about doing a soundtrack release at some point, I guess.
I would really like to
get some of it out there.
Kevin did recognize the Nobel.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Music, the good, yeah. And that was really tough too, because yeah, like you said, that would, first of all, I really felt it had to be that kind of, old. I don't even know how to describe that kind of music that you would hear coming out of like a
gramophone or something.
Yeah, something that I just thought that it for some reason it was funny to me that that's the way it sounded. Like going to a circus, not a circus, like a carnival or something, and hearing the music playing to try and get people to come.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know that. Now, I don't know, Joshua, if you've got a second to talk about your films, because Jonathan just mentioned that you've got a couple coming up, and if you have not checked out, Josh does the Avalon universe.
Yeah.
Which I think they have about 600 episodes so far.
No, that's Vance. He's got about 600 episodes.
Vance has into the tens of thousands at this point.
Yeah. No, we've done, I want to say we're still in the teens with Avalon Universe. And I'm working on the 23rd century finale with that, which is called the Once and Future Captain. And is going to kind of bring together the through line of everything we've been doing since 2018. And that's, although that project is a bit on the back burner, at least for another week or two, because my primary focus right now for the next week is going to be finishing Farragut 2024, which is the sequel to last year's Farragut Forward. and that's more of a Star Trek 4 type homage.
Hmm.
The first one that they did was a Star Trek 2 homage. Now we're doing a Star Trek 4 homage, and that's going to be really fun because we had a lot of location shooting that we did. Instead of it being like in San Francisco, it takes place when the characters do the the Star Trek trope of traveling to modern day. Um, they visit Washington D.C., which is of course where the
Oh,
area that Farragut's based out of. And so we shot right in front of the Capitol building. We went to the Goddard Space Flight Center. We went to the National Air and Space Museum, and some other locations. So we had fun doing a lot of on-location shooting. So it's not gonna be like the last one. It's gonna be more lighthearted and comedic, which is something that I connect with, and of course, Mark, something you would connect with. And then after that, I'm going to shift my focus back to the Once and Future Captain. And we've actually already got the first 24th century Avalon Universe film uh, almost completely shot. It's called Ghost Crystal. And it takes place, it's an early TNG era story. So we're doing
okay.
jumbo spandex costumes and
With
dustbuster
the no
phasers
collars,
and
yeah.
all that kind of fun stuff. And we actually had our costumes tailor made by Frank Sconey,
Hmm.
who does the costuming for Farragut, and so he kind of came over and helped us with that. And we have literally one shooting day left, which we were gonna do this past Saturday, but it got rained out, so we're trying to find our fallback day now.
And
Okay.
if I
So
can
I've got
say,
so I've got
Farragut,
like quite a
uh,
few films in the queue.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna relay
Farragut.
race one film to the next as far as post. And then next weekend, not this coming weekend, but the weekend after, I'm going up to Sandusky, Ohio to shoot another Tales from the Neutral Zone with Ray Tessie.
Well, Farragut looked really good.
It did. It
Yeah, I
did.
saw it,
Yeah.
and I can only imagine. Largent was talking about the simplicity of the early sets. Even when you jump to Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, the everything looks different and more complicated, and you guys pulled that look off really, really well.
Oh yeah, and it's so much more difficult. Doing a fan film in the TOS era. I've done. I've either produced myself or worked on someone else's TOS fan film, probably like in the 30s of those. If you're counting Federation Files and Tales from the Neutral Zone. And so like, yeah, we've gotten to a point where like we can make a TOS fan film pretty easily. But and the reason when Farragut called that I was so eager to jump into that project was because okay, hey, this is doing a different era. This is doing something very different, and so this is a new challenge. And yeah, when you're talking about movie era, the biggest challenge is getting the costumes accurate,
Hmm.
and that's
Yeah.
something that the Farragut team has done very very well. And then of course you mentioned the previous film, how good that looked with
Hmm.
Johnny Karzai having made that film. It's a big bar to big shoes to fill, a big bar to step up to, and so I was interested in that. And then we, kind of Farragut and Avalon joined forces and produced this TNG era film, and they helped a lot with that. And so that was another challenge. Is like, okay, you're doing an early TNG film. Like, I kind of when I got into the nitty gritty of that, I was like, man, this was either a really fun or a really stupid decision because later era TNG stuff, that's easier to find, like, authentic costumes and stuff like
Hmm.
that. Whereas
Yeah.
if you're doing early TNG, you have to have those made from scratch because you can't get those anywhere.
Yeah.
So that was a fun and unique creative challenge to like, okay, this is a lot harder because you're starting from scratch in a lot of ways when you move into one of those later eras.
Yeah. Um, because you see a lot of TOS stuff, you see some TNG era stuff. You don't see a lot of movie era stuff
Oh
because
yeah.
those costumes are harder and the sets are harder.
And
I'm gonna.
the movie era costumes they handmade for Farragut. I mean, they went and figured out the materials, the dyes, the colors. So everything that they did was made from scratch, and it just looks amazing.
Hmm.
Yeah. I'm gonna sneak a question in for Max. He says, do y'all work on other fan films music-wise? Max, you did work on another fan film before Star Trek. Oh, he's muted. You're muted, Max.
Oh, that
Okay.
was good. Someone that works in audio's managed to beat their mic. That's good. Yeah, what was that? I can't actually remember what that film was.
Star Trek Renegades.
Oh yeah.
that was Max's calling card.
Yeah, I should explain that I am currently on a project that has me working 7 days a week, all evening. So that's probably I had no idea what you're talking about.
Wow.
That
But yeah, no.
project that you're working on is like a superhero thing.
Yeah, what was that? What's the name of that project?
Yeah, what was it you told us it was?
So Star Trek Renegades.
They're gonna make a big feature.
I worked on Renegades, and also, of course, I worked on City on the Edge of Foreclosure as well. So that was, But yeah.
Okay, Josh, we'll get back to Joshua. I just wanted to get that before it went too far up the thing. But yeah, what was it again?
Man, it's your show. You don't have to talk about me all the time.
No. We how, because you work on these kind of out of order. I guess because you can do shoots here. How many films do you feel like you're ahead or you're working on at a time?
Oh God. Well, as far as I feel like I'm way ahead in production and way behind in post. Because it's like, I wanted to have the Once and Future Captain out last year. But there was some issues with one, with the timing of getting CG made for it, which is an issue we've now solved. We have Ben Scholes from Loreley in Germany is a Star Trek fan film, and they just finished their third film, and now Ben is doing our CG for the Once and Future Captain. He's about halfway done with it now. And so I feel pretty good about when I transition back to that project, being able to get it out pretty quickly. I want to say we're something like 5 or 6 ahead of what's getting released, like that we've shot or in the process of about to shoot, like something like 5 or 6 films ahead of what's on the release schedule. So it's like I've got enough to keep me busy to the point that I've brought other people in on it. Where I'm asking other people to help out with edits, like Jonathan, for example. You had Jonathan on earlier. Jonathan edited a film called Second Star to the Left that got released just a few weeks ago, and he did a fantastic job. And so I'm handing off some more editing to him. I'm going to be handing some editing off to Greg Mitchell just to catch up. But it's like, we're shooting like 2 more Tales from the Neutral Zone 2 weeks from now. It's like, but we've already got one that's in the can that we haven't edited. So it's like, I'm getting a little, way ahead in as far as what's getting shot. And then, it's the struggle now is like, we got to catch up post-wise so that we don't have anything fall through the cracks. And it was just, I didn't plan for that to happen. It was just, I actually wanted to finish the Once and Future Captain, take a break from doing Avalon for like a year or 2 and just work on other people's projects. But when Neutral Zone Studios had to move to Sandusky, Ohio, it was like, oh, we want to shoot as much as we can in Kingsland before we tear down the sets just in case. And so we got really far ahead. And then Farragut, I couldn't turn down that opportunity. So it was like my focus shifted a little quicker than I was anticipating. So that's kind of how that worked out.
Cool. I have another question for Max. Max, did you get Walter Koenig's autograph? You're muted again.
I'll just see myself out. No, I didn't get his autograph. I was lucky enough to meet him at the premiere for Renegades. And I met Nichelle as well, which was pretty cool.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
So yeah, I had a picture with him and stuff, which was really cool. He didn't know who I was. He was like, kind of like, "Oh, why are you here?" And I was like, "Oh, kind of did the music."
I'm the janitor.
Yeah, no,
Um,
he was really nice. Yeah.
that's
Lovely.
right.
So I've got another question for Max.
Okay, what's that?
Because this is cool. This is cool. So is this more, since you're writing for this parody and the other one, music that is serious in its tone for something that is outlandishly crazy? Is it more fun doing that than if you were writing serious music for a project that was intended to be taken seriously?
Um,
Does that make sense?
yeah, no, yeah, it is really good fun, and it's a lot less intense,
Uh-huh.
less stressful, because getting the tone, like the serious tone, when it's kind of a joke, you can almost sell it easier than when it's serious,
Yeah.
because then
Yeah.
the tone is on a much more of a knife's edge, and it's much more nuanced. Um, whereas with this, because it's kind of the score is sort of this guy laughing in the background, is how I imagine the score. It's almost like taking the mick out of it once
Yeah.
again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I kind of will do it as I'll kind of imagine, like, okay, if this was a a scene of something serious, I would kind of do this, and then I'll kind of take it another 20% on top. Just
Okay.
so
That's
yeah,
awesome.
Well, and you're doing music on Star Trek that was written in the 60s, which is a
Yeah.
completely different kind of score than
Yeah.
nowadays. Is that harder or easier than because I know now it's more tonal.
Yeah, well, that music from the 60s is quite dramatic compared to a lot of kind of what we do now. So it kind of, like the temp and stuff, the jumping off point is already kind of more dramatic than what I would do normally. So it's kind of, it kind of feeds into it. And that style of scoring back then is just completely different. And that's actually one of the main things. There's a lot of really high stuff, like in terms of like registers and all the instruments. There's a lot of high stuff, like high trumpets, high woodwinds, very high strings, really almost like scratchy and like super dramatic. Whereas now, like we're always going like low, lower, like getting out the way of dialogue, getting out the way of sound effects and stuff like that. Whereas back then it just feels much more colorful in a way, because it was just was felt much more free, especially some of the temps that you've put together. So yeah, it was kind of different in that way, but it's just fun to just go right up to the top of where the violins can play and just go crazy. And because usually if I did do that, you would be taking it, we'd be going down, like, take it down. So
Yeah, I'm always saying, could it be louder?
yeah, yeah, that's some of the only notes that I get off of you is just more.
Yes.
Can it be more?
The George Lucas thing, faster and more intense.
Yeah.
So here's a question for Johnson. Are all these projects on YouTube or available somewhere? Joshua, can you I'll put a link in the description to Avalon, but if you want to tell them where they can go.
Yeah, everything's on YouTube. Part of how the CBS fan film guidelines work is that it essentially has to be put on. They say a free service, so somewhere where you don't pay to watch streaming, or that it's not a revenue generating thing. So like you have to post it on YouTube, essentially on an unmonetized channel. So yeah, you can look for Avalon Universe fan films on YouTube, Tales from the Neutral Zone. We post those on our channel too, but you can also find them on the Neutral Zone Studios channel. Then, of course, Farragut has their classic Starship Farragut YouTube channel that they've had up for 20 years, since YouTube was a thing. And there are a lot of great Star Trek fan films out there. If people really wants to go, they really want to go check them out. There's Dreadnought Dominion, which they even do like little spin-offs. They've got one that's about just completely about a Romulan ship called the Warbird Valdor. There's a series called The Federation Files, which is an anthology type fan film series about things that happen on different ships. You know, it's like a one-off story about a different ship each time. You know, Sam Cockings, my friend in the UK, he makes a thing called Trek Shorts. Aaron Vanderclay in Australia makes These Are the Voyages, and so they're just like, there are tons of wonderful fan films out there. You could binge watch them all day.
Yes, you could in fact binge them for several weeks.
Yeah, you
I know
could.
because
You
because
could.
Jonathan keeps suckering me into doing that that film fan film festival, and I wait till the last minute and realize I have to spend the next 3 days solid watching fan films, and that's just from the last year. So um,
You got to watch them all on double speed.
it's tempting sometimes because some of them are very slowly paced. So Mark has a question for me, two-part question. Are there any projects in the works, and how did you get such a great team together? Thanks. Like I said, I'm working on a music video. McCrary thinks I'm going to make the next generation.
Uh-huh.
I don't really know. I think I would like to do something different, just to do something different. But it is hard to get away from Star Trek. As far as the team, Max sought me out. I did a Kickstarter for the city on the edge of foreclosure, and got an email, and went and listened to his stuff. And with the city on the edge of foreclosure, I know it needed to be tragic. It needed to have this romantic thing down. So I didn't want somebody who would come in and try to be wacky with it. And frankly, I thought Max was really good from his samples, but I didn't realize how great it was going to be. It was awesome. So and then Max actually cued me into Martina Carlucci.
Coluccio? Was that?
Coluccio. Yeah, I think that's right. Who does the sound design. And the thing is, my hearing's not great. I've got pretty significant hearing loss in this ear, and this one kind of works. So I trust her a lot for making sure that it sounds good. Because if you've listened to the ones before she was helping me out, you can tell how bad the sound is. So I think that's both. Nighthawks Moore says, "Great job, guys. You had me laughing. So good. Thank you. Appreciate that." When I saw the Bragg can't say Borg, don't want to get sued, I said, yes, that would be a riot. There's so much you can do with the new generation. Yeah, I think so too. The trick with the next generation that I've always thought though is what episode to parody. With Star Trek, the original series, I think there's some these key episodes, and a lot of the next generation episodes that I think about are sort of non-regular. Like if you think the Inner Light, that's mostly Picard living another life on a planet. Yesterday's Enterprise, they're in a different timeline. Even with the Borg, Picard disappears until he comes back at the end of the episode as Locutus. So yeah, there's picking the episode is hard. Like I said, doing the first episode, they don't really look the same. Those costumes didn't last past the second season. Riker doesn't have a beard.
But would you, knowing you the way I do, would you? I know in order to do something like this, you have to really want to do it, and you have to feel a connection with what you're doing, or else it's just laborious and tedious as you engaged in a project one time doing that. Would you feel as driven to do a next generation as you have been the original series?
Maybe not as much, but I do think that there is some desire to do that. I know, you know, there's certainly a fondness for the next generation, and we watched that one when it was coming out, as opposed to watching the original in reruns. So yeah,
Saturday night at 6 o'clock.
Yes, and there was a
Yeah.
period there where I used to go over to McCurry's house. He was newly married, and we would watch the episode, have dinner, and then
On
they
what,
would
a
rerun it
19-inch television?
if it was that much, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we would go and they would rerun it like on Wednesday nights or something. So I would tape it and watch it a second time. Let's see. Kevin says, I saw one person at a con that was wearing an ST movie film, the jacket with the knitted shirt underneath. It looked great because he had tailor made for it. Yeah, I think you have to. And I think I heard an interview with one of the producers that the machine they used to make those collars, that was like the last machine they could find. So it may not even exist.
Wow.
So you had to hand sew each one of those things. Russo says, greetings from East Tennessee. Howdy. I guess I'm in Dallas. McCurry is in New York.
New York City.
And Max, I assume, is in England.
I am indeed Manchester, England.
Okay. I mean, I didn't know if you were working on that new Star Wars project in Nashville instead of the Star Wars one you told us about that you were working on.
No comment.
That large.
Oh, wait a minute. We got a little bit more from that one.
Yeah. You would feel horrible if he did accidentally let it slip out.
Well, I am gonna be in London next week recording at Abbey Road.
Oh,
but yeah.
That is so cool.
It's a really fun one. So yeah.
With the London Symphony Orchestra for the Star Wars thing?
No, but we have done the LSO for Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order a few years ago.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you should
that.
mention you guys won a Grammy for that.
We won the Grammy for Jedi Survivor, which was the second game. So
wow,
yeah, that's pretty cool.
There's a picture of Max touching the Grammy.
The funny thing about the Grammy trophies is they're kind of they're a little bit flimsy. Actually, they don't weigh as much as you would imagine.
Oh, you've shattered our illusions.
I don't think they cost them very much to make. That's for sure.
Oh wow. Well, maybe they have to replace them because you got to think a lot of those rock stars probably lose theirs. All the drugs and drinking and stuff. They keep leaving them at places.
Maybe they make the proper ones for Billie Eilish, and then the film score. We just get the plastic ones. We get the proofs.
Yeah, don't give them the ones that we show on camera. Yeah.
So, Mark, I've got a question for you.
Okay.
Doing a parody is always really difficult. Or challenging in the standpoint of trying to figure out, okay, you've got this thing that you're homaging, whether it's the Dumbsday Machine or Sitting on the Edge of Forever. You can't just straight retell the story. You've got to take it out into kind of absurd territory. And I did this past weekend where I wrote a story about somebody I actually know, a friend of mine who's a film producer, but I wrote sort of this parodied over-the-top version of his life story. Talk about the process of deciding how far you take the parody and what the balance is there.
Well, I start off with being a smart aleck. So everything I watch, I will inappropriately laugh at because I do sort of see things through that lens. They're lines or they're scenes which are played very earnestly, but I like what was it, the Superman versus Batman movie, where they have Superman's funeral and for some reason they have bagpipes playing Amazing Grace, and I laughed out loud in the audience at the theater. So it starts with just me sitting down and watching it, and then I also try to look for the things that that I feel are most iconic about what it is. You know, I did the parody of Prelude to Axanar, and one of the first things I clung to was there's a line where, you know, they talk about Klingon saying if words were water, something or other. I don't remember now but the
Glug,
line
glug.
stuck. Yeah, well, so the parody was if words were water, we'd all make glug glug noises when we
Yeah.
talk. But that's not what it said in the thing. But so I go through and I just kind of look for those things. A lot of what I'm looking for is humor is surprise. So with a parody, you have this bonus because you know in City on the Edge of Forever that the cop shows up when they're stealing the clothes, and Kirk gives this story about trying to explain Spock's ears and stuff. But if you have him start to tell that story and then immediately they're arrested and going off in a police squad car, then you've played into that. People think they know where it's going, and then there's a surprise. But I do also try. I don't like the parodies where they just. I always think of it like the Weird Al Yankovic thing of he does the whole parody of a song, but it's about something. It's not just, hey, I'm going to take this one word and switch it to another word that sounds like it, because that's not funny. So I do try to say, okay, McCurry helped out a great deal on the Dumbsday Machine because I was stuck at one point. I'd given Mr. Spot a good reason not to remove Wrecker from command, and I couldn't figure out how to do that. And I finally we talked it out, and McCurry said, "Well, what if McGruff tells him that he used to be a mailman or something and plays on the Vulcanine thing?" And so he got me out of it because I couldn't just skip it. I wanted it to have its own internal logic, as bizarre as it is. And then too, I always liked the fact that A Mutt Time played with the ending where, as it was originally written, to Pomeranian decides she wants to marry McGruff because she always wanted to, her mom always wanted her to marry a doctor. With this one, I could play the ending different with the shuttlecraft so that it wasn't, you think you know the ending, but then it twists on it. As far as how far to go, I don't know. I'm okay with telling a really bad, cheesy joke as well as one that's maybe more intellectual. But I don't know as far as I don't think of it in terms of am I being hateful or anything. I do know the first time I ever watched it with an audience, the noise that came out of the audience when they had when Nurse Temple says, "Oh, great! Even when I'm acting, I'm in love with a married man." That got a big reaction, but I don't think it was mean spirited. I guess I'm not sure what would be too far, as long as it's funny. I think
A few layers to that joke.
yes. That was it. The noise was there was like surprise, there was like laughter, and there was also like anger. People, I wish I'd had a recording of that because that was a very very strange thing.
So can I ask you a question to that? Was part of that question, part of that joke, That was your first movie, right? Yeah. So did you have to start recognizing that, no, I've got to write these jokes for an audience, rather than, hey, this is funny, I think this is funny when I'm writing it in the script and I make it, but you haven't shown it to anyone yet? Does that make sense? Did you suddenly go, oh, I need to think about, I really do have an audience now?
I don't know. I mean, I start off with just what I think is funny.
Yeah.
And frequently what I think is funny is maybe not funny to other people. But I feel like I have a pretty broad sense of humor.
Mhm.
I like all kinds of jokes. That line was written all the way back in '96 when I was doing it as the webcomic on the website. And I didn't even consider that it would take people. Obviously, if I'd shown it and like Rod Roddenberry was in the room or something like that, and I was like, oh well, maybe that's not. I definitely don't try to do jokes to like with Prelude to Acts We Are. I was kind of walking a fine line between saying, I think CBS is going too far with it, with attacking a fan film like this. But at the same time, I wasn't wanting to like portray them completely as villains. So there is sort of a line with some things. If I think that would be too harsh.
You did that one pretty well, because the first time I ever saw Prelude to Acts We Are was at Alec Peters' house.
Oh, thank you.
We sat there and watched in his living room. He was laughing throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, I was very nervous with that. I got Jonathan involved with that because I didn't know how far I could go. One, I didn't want to piss anybody off, but the other was I didn't want to come down too hard on either side and maybe, interfere with the lawsuit that was going on. Jonathan, meanwhile, kept it a complete secret from Alec. And so I didn't, because I thought he would tell Alec about it. And then Alec would say, we don't appreciate you doing this. But instead, it was presented to him as a surprise. So thankfully, he had very good humor. Both he and Robert Meyer Burnett, who was the director at that time, were very complimentary. They both enjoyed it, and people on the other side of the argument also thought it was good. So I managed to keep it fun. But let's see, we got who does the female voices. I have an actress that I actually found on Fiverr who does Ahaya, and I was very lucky because she was performing on a cruise ship, a Disney cruise ship, and she was out of pocket for like a year. And I thought, I'm not going to be able to get her. And it took me so long to make it that she was back in town, and I could get that. Also, I have a very good friend named Xanthi who did Edith Keister for me and did a great job. Although somebody did recognize that she was from Zimbabwe, so they recognized her accent through the thing. Because as you know, Max, all of you people with English type accents just sound the same to us. All of you sound like hip hip ho cheerio. And we all sound like cartoon cowboys. So
Hey Max, could you do an American accent?
Oh, definitely not. No way.
Come on, give it a shot.
Well, you see, I'm from the north of England, so I have like a northern accent. So I don't have the London. So I say grass, I don't say grass. And
okay, you don't do that, yeah.
Yes, I I don't have the posh English accent, I suppose.
Oh, well, so you're
Okay.
almost to doing an American accent then, because that's half of it is just using the soft A.
Yeah.
Um, can we get a little more backstory from Mr. McCreary? Who is this guy and why is he here?
That is the question of the hour. Max, Score, Josh, has made fan films, and here's the guy with the bunny cage behind him. So what's going on there?
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for
Yes.
clarifying that that's not for children or something.
Oh, yeah, no, that's not. That's for a bunny rabbit. So I don't know, backstory. I am playing the role of the best friend. Largen and I have known each other for far longer than either one of us would care to admit. We've worked on projects together, but this is something he wrote and I drew. But he took on this 3D animation role and left me behind. Left me behind. But
As
he
soon
does.
as I could ditch him,
I
step
was
on the
gone.
little people and get him. No,
It
so
really
yeah,
hurt when you pushed me out of the car all those times. That one hurt more than anything else.
and that really wasn't even necessary.
What's it?
The McCurry and I have been friends since high school. When I moved to Mississippi, and he so over 40 years now.
Yeah, you have to say that.
1983, and one of the things we bonded. We both liked comic books, and McCurry is a great artist, and McCurry and I did several comics together, and including a great Star Trek comic that we did. We originally did like in 91 or something like that.
Yeah.
And we went and finished it for the 50th anniversary. And somehow I'm going to figure out a way to get it on YouTube. But you can
I would
actually
love
see
to get. I would love to get a printed copy of it. That's what I would love more.
Yeah,
than
that would be
else.
cool. Yeah. But we did do a live stream. If you look through the live things, McCrary and I went through it page by page, so you can see some of Mark's excellent art. But besides comics, we also loved Star Trek.
Mhm.
And Mark was probably a bigger Star Trek fan than I was.
Huge. I weighed about 300 at the time.
Actually, both of us were insanely skinny back then. So McCrary and I bonded, and we actually one of the first comics that we worked on together was a comic that we called Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yeah.
You talk about Vance saying that he thinks people steal their ideas. So we had worked on this comic that we sent to DC,
What
by a
was that,
bizarre
early 80s?
Yeah, it was probably about 85,
Yeah,
86,
yeah.
somewhere in there. And we sent it in. McCurry did not include return postage, so we never saw it again.
Yeah. Until it came on TV.
They probably hung on to it for years, but saying we don't want to throw away this. It was a big story we did, and but by a bizarre, weird coincidence. So, anyways, we find out in Starlog one day that they're making a new Star Trek TV show called Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yeah.
And we went, they took our idea.
Yeah.
But the weird coincidence was we had the setup was that we had an older captain who gets killed in the first story. And when when the new one takes over, the younger one, you could see a sort of parallel with Picard and Riker. But the weird thing is, our character was named Jonathan Blake, which doesn't sound anything like Riker, but it does sound a lot like Jonathan Frakes.
Yeah.
So that was our weird, yeah.
And somehow the ship got thrown into a different galaxy, almost like Voyager.
Oh, they ripped us off. They ripped us off on Voyager
two times. Yeah, 2 times.
And then Star Trek season 3 of Picard ripped us off with the Space Museum from our other comic.
I think Max was the one who gave him that idea.
Welcome to the show, Steve Harris. Steve Harris is another prolific Star Trek fan filmmaker who may or may not be here. We'll see if we hear from. But so that's so McCurry and I have worked on a bunch of projects together. But the Star Trek thing was probably a little more than McCurry wanted to do. So,
well, you're being gracious when you say wanted to, could do would be really the better word. But I did do I had a small voice piece in City on the Edge of Foreclosure.
That's
and
correct.
Also
yes.
in Axe We Are.
You had a big role in Axe We Are.
Yeah, fun role for that one.
Yes. What was your line in Axe We Are about the
let's see, what was that?
You had the great one
darn,
too.
Darn he good.
Yes.
Like that? Yeah. Darn the Destroyer, was that what he was called?
I can't remember. Yeah. And you
yeah.
And then did you get to say the Hakpatui line, or was that?
Yeah, I think so. I think I did that one too.
A Klingon phrase that roughly translates into Hakpatui, which means we spit on you.
Yeah.
And then in City on the Edge of Foreclosure, you got to be the tourist.
A tourist.
Who said there's always a nut.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that was you.
Max goes, that was my favorite line of the whole movie.
Yes. So expertly delivered. Yes.
That was a good
bit. Steve isn't with us, but he did leave a comment and says we have 2 actors and a VFX artist who live across the river from Liverpool.
Hey. Liverpool.
That would be now. Was Liverpool?
Yeah, that's pretty close to Manchester.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you've gone to Abbey Road, have you ever run into to Paul McCartney or Ringo Starr?
No, but it's the funny thing about Abbey Road is it's basically like a working museum. So they have like the piano they used on like Penny Lane and stuff just in Studio 2 to be used by people. And they have loads of the mics. The mics that are still working somehow from back in that era. It's just it's just literally a working museum. So it's pretty cool.
The DNA from all the spit in those mics, could bring back all of the.
The joke is that's what makes it all sound so good, because it's all full of dust and sweat and they actually in Studio 1, which is the biggest studio, they recently did a bit of a refurbishment in there, and they took down all these pieces of fabric from the right on the roof. And I think that they did literally contain 50, 60 years of sweat and everything. So, I think they definitely needed to go in the wash.
Yeah, I was going to say, so what does it smell like for that much years of sweat? Yeah. Wow. I'm assuming there was no air conditioning in Abbey Road either.
No. There's noise, isn't it? So it's got to be quiet. But yeah, I think it's better ventilated now than it was back then. That's for sure.
Just watch it out saying thank you, Ernie Tech's Little Mainframes. So Max, are you over being the reverence of walking into it as a museum? Is it just a place to go to work now?
I'm lucky enough to have I've spent quite a few days there over the last 6 or 7 years or so, but the first day that you walk in and you walk through the hall and stuff is still pretty special. And the cool thing actually about Abbey Road, one of my favorite things about Abbey Road is the bar, because not many studios have a proper bar. That's after the end of the session, everyone just automatically goes to the bar, and then you bump into some interesting people and drinks and stuff. So,
by the way, that's when he wrote most of your music, Largent. At the bar and after the bar.
At the bar, yeah. So, of course, you're going back there when you do the new Star Wars movie. So I'm I think I'm close. I'm in the ballpark on this one. I'm going to keep pushing. I got to do some Googling and see if I can find some. Welcome, Steve Harry Harris from Harris Film Productions. Steve, why don't you tell everybody about some of the fan films you make? Because you guys make different fan films.
That's true. Well, we got together. I originally started out as a Super 8 fan filmmaker back in the 70s. I produced a never seen outside of local theater proof of concept film for a series that I was going to call, Star Trek: The Ultimate Frontier. But hey, yeah, I was 17 years old, and
Wow.
I got a bunch of friends together, had a story. We did what we could. And I mean, the special effects were plastic models. I couldn't keep things in focus, that small scale and all of that. But it still exists, and I hope to digitize it and actually reuse it in one of our films that's coming up.
Wow.
You should definitely do that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you got some record of a trip to a planet you didn't even realize happened. So,
Wow.
yeah. And so what we did is I've been in different groups, including No Budget Productions, Constar Films, little bit parts here and there, usually in the after credits. Once in a while, I'll be a main character. But that's where I got to know a lot of the people that are actually in my crew now, including Roy Ivey, who plays Admiral Vandenboss over in the Constar and our universe, and a bunch of people that helped us produce some films. We just released over on No Budget Productions a film called Where Do You Go, which was written by Vance Major, and I wrote the script, and it's taken us 2 years
Wow.
for like a 12-minute film. But part of that was, people say, yeah, I want to do this, and then they're not available, so we have to rewrite it and make a new character and that kind of a thing. So that's just the way it works. No big deal. But we're trying to do. We started out in 2267, which is where we are right now with that film. And we plan to go into what would have been phase 2.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we're kind of a spinoff. We don't really talk about the other guys. I mean, yeah, we're going to have Mud. Okay. I'll go ahead and spoil that for you because we have a film coming up called In Deep Mud, which is actually based on the original script idea that was going to be a spinoff for a show from Star Trek. And that will introduce Mud, who is Bruce Turner playing Mud, and hopefully he'll also show up in a couple of our other little things. We have little vignettes parody called Warp Speed in a Turbo Lift, which is Marcus scene. He liked it. That's Roy Ivey's project. He and I write those mostly, and we get the guys together and review what we're going to do, and eventually we get it filmed and edited.
Awesome. I'm going to interrupt you to say that whoops, laptop
You're muted,
died.
Large.
Oh, am I? Am I? Can you hear me?
Still muted.
I hear him.
Oh, you hear him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear you.
That's weird.
Large.
Huh. Well, Max says, whoops, laptop died. Was great to chat, and congrats again, Mark, which seemed to conveniently happen after we mentioned Star Wars. He says, I'll leave you guys to it. Got to get back to scoring the next Star Wars film, of course.
There you go.
Thanks for having me. So bye, Max. I appreciate you being here. Max, the big hero behind Star Trek. Can you still not hear me, McCurry?
Hey, Largent, I'm going to leave too. I've lost my audio for you, but Steve, it's good to meet you.
Nice to meet
Josh, good to meet you too. God bless. Talk to you later, Largent.
Have a great day.
Thanks for letting me be a part of this.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
Yeah.
You can't hear me say that, but
He'll watch it on a rerun. Hi, Josh.
Yeah, I also want to point out T-Cat says, just finished and loved it. My partner died 8 months ago. Loved your work and would have loved this. Oh, I hate that. I'm sorry for your loss, but I got to believe that they let you watch Star Trek in the afterlife. So
yeah,
hopefully, but yeah, I'm sorry for your loss. Thank you very much. Let's see, am I missing anything else? Marcos says, thanks for being part of this. Marcos says, I missed the premiere since I had to prepare lunch right at that time. Sorry about that, but you can still watch it. So please do. And everybody give it, tell your friends and let's see how far and wide we can get it. Danger says, awesome job in chat, guys. Kevin Cousins says, I should get going as well. I have some work to do. I need to get back to. That's hate that things like that happen. There was I don't know, Steve, were you around when what was her name? Barbara.
Oh yeah,
I'm blanking
Barbara
on her last
Reeder?
name.
Barbara Reeder.
Yes,
Yeah.
Barbara Reeder.
I never met her, but her reputation preceded her, and it's a great loss to the community.
Yeah, I only ever talked to her on Facebook, and she was a fan from the 60s, and she was a comic book fan. She used to write letters into DC Comics, and they would be published in the letters things. And she told me this heartbreaking story where I think she was 13 or 14, and she got to go to one of the comic book conventions in New York. This is back in probably the early 60s, I guess. And she made her own Supergirl costume, and she went there, and her parents dropped her off, and almost immediately she was just mauled by these creeps who were trying to goose her and all this stuff. And she burst into tears. And I just hated to hear that because she was such a great fan. And she, her partner, really liked the Mutt Time. And unfortunately, she had backed City on the Edge of Foreclosure with the idea of giving it to him. And she said, I'm giving you his address because I won't make it. And I was like, no, you'll be here. And sadly she did die before I finished it. It's one of the downsides of taking so long to do these, but what a nice lady. And
she was so very sweet, and she worked really hard to cover and promote and catalog, like keep a library of what everybody was doing.
Yeah.
And I only traded a few emails with her, but I consider myself very lucky to have spoken with her in any way,
Yeah, she was astonishing what she did. She was funny. She was very nice, but she did not have a sense of humor. She said, I'll be honest, Mark, I only think your thing is funny because my boyfriend says it's funny. But I had many a conversation with her. She knew a lot of the tea about the fan film behind the scenes stuff. Well, I guess we're gonna get closer. I was gonna do an hour. It looks like we've done an hour and a half. Steve, do you want to tell people how to find your films?
Probably the best way is to just look for Task Force 78.
Task Force 78.
Harris Film Productions on YouTube. We're also over on Rumble, but we don't have a lot up there yet. It's just an experiment,
Yeah,
it's a new platform.
Do people put a lot of film? I mean, I know Rumble does like
no, it seems to be mostly podcasts, and it's kind of disappointing. I don't join over there for the political discussions. I'm actually trying to get away from that kind of a thing.
Same here. Same here. Joshua, I'll mention again, Avalon Universe, if you search for that, and also Farragut.
Farragut 2024 should be out. I can't give you an exact date, but it's not going to be very long.
Excellent.
Okay. And then Neutral Zone Studios is the other.
We work with them as well, and also a little bit with the Federation Files as well.
Yeah. If you guys are fans of Star Trek, and why wouldn't you be? Go seek them out. There's a lot of Star Trek that's being done, and a lot of heart, and a lot of people who love Star Trek.
Oh, last year,
So-
Josh let us borrow some of his footage for our Halloween special.
Oh
So
yeah,
look-
we did. I
look-
did.
So look for Halloween 2267 on the Harris Film Channel.
But congratulations, Mark. This film is
Thank you.
amazing, and it's
Absolutely.
it's funny, it's beautiful. Everything about it, I think, is wonderful and perfect. I love the Dumbsday machine having teeth.
Yeah.
You know, just it's all in the little details. And I know from like the one time we met in person and hung out for a few hours is that you're a person who just knows so much about Star Trek, going back to the beginning of it, and that passion and that love for Star Trek and that thorough knowledge of it, along with your wonderful sense of humor, definitely shines through the whole film.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And like I said, Ernie here says he will look for Harris Film Productions, Neutral Zone Studios, and for more from Mark. Take care.
Absolutely.
And so
And you
once
got
again,
2 thumbs up, buddy. You got 2. We did a
Oh,
live
great.
review.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I'm gonna have to
10
go
out
and
of
watch
10.
your review of it. That was a lot of fun. I've never done a live premiere before, and being able to be in chat with real-time reactions was a lot of fun. And got to Mark, thanks for letting us be a part of this to clear my schedule. I'm glad I did. Awesome panel, and best of luck in future endeavors. Thank you guys. And until the next thing comes along, live long and laugh, and even prosper as well too.
Have a
Thanks,
great day,
guys.
everybody.
I really appreciate you guys coming.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
No problem.